Hello, everyone. Welcome to Silicon Dragon, our Ask a VC series. We're here today with episode 21, and we are recording from Silicon Valley, and our guest star is in Malaysia, in Kuala Lumpur. We've done many of these programs around the world, and we're happy today to have a Malaysian VC. It's actually our third from Malaysia. Amazing. Thank you to Invest Hong Kong for sponsoring this series. We really appreciate it. We are doing lots of other things besides this show. We have our newsletter, our YouTube channel. And by the way, the recording of this show will be on our YouTube channel. My new book's coming out in just a few weeks, The New Tech Titans of China. It's on Amazon already, along with my other books. Preceding that, I've been very busy, but I do like to write and I like to research, so it's all fun for me. There's Victor, in case you'd like to see what he looks like. There's Victor Chua of Vynn Capital, his own firm in KL. Here's a little bit about Victor. He started as a VC at Gobi Partners in 2015, investing in Southeast Asia. And he left Gobi in 2018 to form his own fund, which is a specialist fund. And they do interesting deals, very specialized. One of them is a Thai-based online marketplace. It's in the region and it's expanding in the region. Now, Victor's been doing this for quite some time, so he's got a lot of history. He's a board member or director of numerous regional startups. This includes Vietnam, Indonesia, Malaysia, etc., throughout the region. Interestingly enough, I've profiled him for Forbes 30 Under 30 Stars in Finance way back in 2017. And that's how we met.
Yep.
I actually nominated him, right? Right, Victor?
Yep. Yep. That's right. That's right. Appreciate it.
Okay. Okay. So Victor was also chairman of the Malaysian VC and Private Equity Association. And for several years, he still has close links to it. He's on his his second fund, $20 million. It's not, this is Malaysia, it's emerging. So you don't need $200 million. You don't need $2 billion. 20 million will do it, particularly if you're doing early stage tech investing, which Victor is doing. Okay, so that's a little bit about Victor. I do want to showcase a few of our events coming up. We have one that is a roundtable in New York with two China experts, Jim McGregor of APCA Worldwide and Paul Triolo of DJA Group. Jim is coming in from China and Minnesota. Paul is based in DC. This is going to be at Rockefeller Center on January 29th. And then right after that, we've got a fireside chat here in the Valley with Gary Rochelle of Chiming Venture, also chair of Asia Society, Northern California and Seattle. I've known him for years, 20 years, since when he first started Chiming. So we're happy to have him February 26th, 5 to 8 p.m. in Palo Alto, hosted by DLA Piper. Finally, save the date. We're going to go to Austin, Texas again, March 15. And we had a wonderful barbecue reception out there in the Austin Hills last time, and we're going to do it again. So all that's coming up, our circle membership. Okay, let me go back to Victor, our star for today. Okay, and let's see what happens if we stop the share. All right, here's everybody. Unfortunately, we have a great V for Victor, victory. And I think Victor maybe gets to have his victory lap now. Okay. Well, Victor, tell us a little bit about yourself and what how the Malaysia VC scene. I mean, I know it's very startup-y, and you've done a lot of digital deals, internet type of deals, but you're now into mobility and auto tech. So tell us a little bit about your work.
Sure, sure. I think first of all, thanks a lot to Rebecca for hosting me on today's show. And
Okay.
of course, thank you already gave a pretty thorough introduction to myself at the very beginning of this call. So I'll
Uh-huh.
probably save everyone's time on that. So
Okay.
maybe I'll just jump straight into the Malaysian venture scene.
Okay.
At this point of time. As you know, Malaysia is not really a huge population. We only have probably about 32 million people. But we're smack in the middle of a region that has great connectivity. So we're just within 4 hours away from most of the countries in Southeast Asia. So naturally, when we speak to partners, friends, acquaintances about opportunity of investing, we seldom talk about just Malaysia on its own. In fact, whenever we look at Malaysia, we look at it as a regional play, meaning from Malaysia you can go to Indonesia, Singapore, Thailand, etc., etc. Even to Hong Kong, the flight is just like 4 hours plus, so it's not that far away. The proximity within this region helps a lot when it comes to creating better economies of scale. Obviously, there are nuances locally that we need to adjust to because of different culture, different language, but that is something that's a given, meaning that most of us in this region are pretty much accepting the fact that you need to localize when you go into a new market. So that gives Malaysia a bit of a competitive advantage because we're multicultural, we speak different languages, we understand different culture, and because of that, we're able to get connected to
Okay.
understand different business models as well. Um, you're right. Malaysia is still a little bit more startup-ish. In fact, our government has just recently, put on put the feet on the accelerator to push on innovation, to push on VC growth. We have Jelawang Capital, which is a fund under Khazanah. Khazanah is a sovereign wealth fund of Malaysia. So Genoa Capital is out there to deploy into GPs, into VCs like ourselves. In fact, they also, besides us being the Malaysian rep, they also invested into Granite, AppWorks, a few of the global VCs as well, because we understand that there's a need to be connected, not just within the local ecosystem, but also with the more mature markets like China, Taiwan, etc. So there is an ongoing active synchronized approach from the local government to support VC growth, and we expect this growth in VC as an asset class to spill over to obviously more entrepreneurial growth as well, because VC is an instrument to grow the entrepreneurial scene locally. So that's where we are. As I'm a beneficiary from the local efforts. So I think at this point of time, the VC community is also getting more mature rather than just being a spray and pray strategy. A lot of the funds are coming up with different niche approach. That's also a reason why I started out to be a specialist investor rather than a generalist. So yes, hopefully that gives you a bit of an idea.
Okay. Yeah. So you said that the government is very eager to encourage startups and get VC into the country. That's not unusual. Many emerging markets are doing the same thing. So
Yeah.
what kind of strength does Malaysia have?
Oh, excuse me. Sorry. Yeah, I think most of the other countries also do the same, especially like, for example, Singapore, Korea. Most of the countries would have a similar approach, but I think what differentiates Malaysia from the rest of the market is that we are more open in terms of investing into foreign businesses or from VCs and foreign uh, startups. Um, because of the size of the market, we are always looking at how do we scale it inorganically. The best way to do it is by investing into larger markets that can bring knowledge transfer, that can bring
Mhm.
technology transfer, and at the same time create a bridge between local and international markets. To give you an example, with regards to the Korean fund of fund programs like KVIC, which is also owned by the government, they have a much more stringent uh, requirement to invest back into Korea uh,
Mhm.
compared to Malaysia. Malaysia's program is a lot more flexible. Obviously, there is a what do you call it, an expectation by the Malaysian government to have the VCs to invest into the Malaysian market, but that particular requirement is much more relaxed compared to the Korean one.
Mhm.
So this is an example. I don't think um it is in the interest of Malaysia to really do something entirely new, but we are improving. We're doing what is thought as an improvement to the existing system that's been out there. So it's rather than doing something new, we're just improving whatever that we've seen in the market.
So I remember that KL had a multimedia corridor to
Mm.
encourage digital startups.
Yep.
Can you give us an update on that?
I think that's still on still in what do you call it? How should I put it? That one is still there, but people don't really talk much about it right now because the whole market has grown beyond just digital.
Right.
Now we are even looking at data center. We're looking at robotics. So there are new innovation in Malaysia. So digital is now more of I think one of the subsets of the innovation sector. But in from Malaysia's standpoint, we are actually looking at more advanced opportunity. Hence, if you see any media coverage of Malaysia over the I think last 12 months, it's a lot on renewable energy, a lot on data center, a lot on AI. So that's where we're heading to. Digital is part and parcel, but at this point of time, I think we have gone beyond that. So there are
So
new programs and ideas being thought out at this point of time.
let's see, AI, energy, data
Yeah,
centers.
yeah,
It
yeah.
sounds like any other market. That's what all the other markets seem to be going after.
Oh, but the difference is Malaysia do have the supply chain that can connect with
Uh-huh.
the larger markets, and at the same time, to a certain extent, at the same time, it's I don't know whether I should say this, but Malaysia has a very diplomatic relationship with both China and the US, and that helps a lot when it comes to doing business.
Mhm.
So whilst it sounds like it's similar to other markets, however, if you look at the amount of FDIs that's been coming into this country, especially with the Johor Singapore Free Trade Zone down south, which is right above Singapore, you see that there's a lot of FDIs coming in to invest into these particular sectors,
Mhm.
and that sort of differentiates ourselves from the rest, especially because Malaysia has a much more mature and I think relatively stable financial market compared to Indonesia, compared to Thailand or Vietnam. So that's where I think we're building our foundation for the next 10 years.
I see. And you also have some good or large institutional investors there too, don't you?
Yes, most of the LPs that VCs can approach are usually the pension funds, the sovereign wealth funds, but also the corporate funds as well. Quite a
Uh-huh.
number of the government linked companies also have a sort of a CVC program. For example, in our case, for our mobility fund, one of our key strategic LPs is a company called Syme. Syme is they are a car dealership business. They distribute BYD, BMW, a number of other brands, but they also have a manufacturing business that does OEM for Toyota, Daihatsu, Komatsu, and a few other different, I think, Japanese brands as well. So they invested into our fund because they wanted to explore what are the opportunities out there they can work with. So rather than waiting for someone else to eat their lunch, they would rather work with somebody to cook a bigger meal. So that's why they invested as an LP. But beyond just being an LP, there are also quite a number of investors out there in Malaysia that are investing directly into startups as well. So the number of CVCs are increasing. Obviously, CVC as an industry is not super mature yet, but the intention is there. Most of the government, I mean, a lot of the ministries are encouraging GLC or government companies and innovations as well. They're encouraging building structures within the listed companies as well. So a lot of things are happening along that line.
Okay, so it's a mix of corporate LPs from businesses from
Yeah,
around the region, I take it, and
yeah.
also some government money.
Yep,
Like
yep, yep,
a sovereign wealth fund, like Singapore has its sovereign wealth fund. Is that you have the same thing in Malaysia?
yep, exactly.
What's the name of it? The Malaysian.
Khazanah,
Oh, Kazaa.
Khazanah,
Okay,
Khazanah,
I
Khazanah,
see.
and also for us, we also have POP. POP is a pension fund. They're a pension fund for civil servants.
Pension funds as well.
Yes,
Okay.
you
Yeah.
don't see that a lot in other countries actually, but in Malaysia we do have pension funds investing into VC as an
Mhm.
asset class.
Okay. What about angel investors? Yeah. Do you have billionaire angel investors there?
I think so there are a group of active angel investors out there. But the challenge with the Malaysian market, I think, I mean, I've been talking about the pros of the market, but when it comes to the challenges, the biggest challenge in this country is that it's not very synchronized. So most of the investors will do things on their own. That includes angel investors. So they'll invest into the company, they'll treat it like an SME, and they hope that the company can grow to be profitable and hopefully eventually they can IPO as well. Professional angel investors are not that common yet in Malaysia. Although there are families that are investing out of their own family office, but for angel investors, we don't see too many professional ones. However, because of the growth in equity crowdfunding in Malaysia, we start to see that a lot of these investors they no longer look at startup investing as a punt, but they're starting to look at it as more from a strategic standpoint, where we get angel investors that are from a familiar sector to invest into the company. So it's growing, it's evolving, but we're still early in terms of our maturity of angel investors.
So where does the wealth come from in Malaysia? You talked
Wealth,
about these family offices who invest.
yes, yes.
Who are they?
Actually, it's pretty similar to most markets, from property, from retail, from F&B, from logistics, etc. So it's pretty primary sectors.
Okay. Any particular family names that we might know?
I'm not too sure if you might know,
Well,
but
you could give us the family names and then you can
sure.
enlighten us.
Yeah, sure. One of the family that we work particularly close with is a family. The company's name is called EcoWorld, ECOWORLD. So they are a property group, and they have set up a family office. They have even set up their own PE fund as well, or to invest into to retail space. And on the tech side, they invested directly into some startups, and at the same time, they invested into my fund one as an LP.
I
So
see.
this is a family that's I think more mature than most of the other families in Malaysia, because they were one of the first ones who started investing back in the days. I think probably about 8 9 years ago they started investing,
Okay.
which is quite amazing given the fact that the family has always been in properties, but because of the next generation, they wanted to venture out into new areas, and that's how they got into technology investing and eventually private equity as well.
I see. Right. Now you have specialized in automotive tech. So what's with Malaysia and auto tech? What's the connection?
Malaysia has always been a big market for automotive. In fact, if you see the recent statistics, Malaysia has outtaken Thailand, Indonesia being the biggest automotive market in Southeast Asia. Not just primary, but also secondary as well.
I
What I
see.
mean by that is, I mean, if you look at some of my portfolio companies, actually the most notable one, Carsem, so they are the biggest in the region. Carsem, it's not exactly similar to Carvana. So we have our used car platform where we do C2B, or consumers selling to us or selling to the dealers. Or we can also do B2C, meaning we sell cars to consumers as well. At the
Hmm.
same time, we have an ecosystem where we provide financing, we provide higher purchase loans, we do extended warranties as well. We have an inspection business,
Hmm.
etc. So he's a whole ecosystem of automotive play. The
Hmm.
reason why I decided to focus on mobility is partly because of my investment experience. So Carson has been a great experience for
Yeah,
me.
you
And this
were that was Malaysia's first unicorn.
unicorn. Yeah, 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 yeah.
And
I,
when
I,
when did you make that investment?
it's a little bit more complicated because I invested in them when I was in Gobi.
When you were at
Then
Gobi. Hmm.
yeah, when I was at Gobi. So but when I left, there was a window for me to invest as well. So I invested through Vin again. So
I
technically
see.
speaking, I've invested in them more than a couple of times.
I
So
see.
and it's proven to be a right decision. Given that they are now the biggest one in the region, and we're very close to seeing an exit. Hopefully within the next 12 months.
Oh, you think it might go public or
Oh,
what?
yes, that's not that's the official
I see.
statement. Yes, it
I
will go
see.
public. So it depends. We're trying to strategize.
Okay. Okay.
Yep, yep, yep.
So what's the percentage of car ownership in Malaysia?
Oh gosh, we have like I think okay, to give you an idea, in Malaysia, because yeah, we have good public transport coverage in Malaysia, but we don't have as extensive as Singapore. Um, and also in most cases in Indonesia, and Vietnam, for example, even Thailand, motorbikes are much more common. But
Mhm.
for Malaysia, car ownership percentage is probably, let me think, because I can recall the latest figure. Uh, we are around, I think, 91%, if I'm not wrong. 91% of Malaysians would have at least one car, and there are sometimes Malaysians would have more than one and two cars. So on average, it's about 1.7 cars per household. So you can see that in Malaysia, that is definitely a sector that we should be looking at, and
Right.
not just because of car ownership, but also because the whole EV story is still a big thing over here. But at
It's
the
still
same
what?
time,
I'm sorry, it's
it's
still a bit what?
the whole EV story is still a big trend over here.
A big
Electric
trend.
vehicle,
Yeah.
yes, yes,
Hmm.
yes, over here. But not just electric vehicle, but also hydrogen as well. Not for passenger cars, but for industrial vehicles.
I see.
Because of the fact that Malaysia do has some of the natural resources that will be useful for this. So now we're just investing into technology that allows us to commercialize all those new power sources.
Okay. So how about the Chinese electric vehicles? Are they there?
Oh, of course, yes, the Chinese electric vehicles are everywhere. Obviously BYD being the biggest one in town. But you also have Beza, different brands, JQ. So there's a number of Chinese brands in Malaysia as well. It's good for the consumers because we have more options. And prices of EVs are being pushed down because of the Chinese market. Um, but that also drives the local car manufacturers to be more innovative
Hmm.
and more competitive as well. So
Hmm.
even the local automotive companies are also are coming up with their own EV brands to compete with the Chinese EVs. So that's something that's happening right now.
These are regional brands that are coming up to compete with the Chinese EVs.
The local brands, yes, like for
Oh,
example, there's two
local from
local brands.
Malaysia.
Malaysia, yes.
Okay.
So we have two national brands.
Hmm.
Actually, technically one and a half. The first one is Prodwa. Prodwa, they are also coming up with their own electric vehicle brand. The second one
Hmm.
is Proton, but Proton, technically speaking, is half Chinese, just so owned by Geely, and they have launched their own on EV in Malaysia as well.
I see.
So we do have local manufacturers that are coming up with their own brands.
I see. Okay. And you mentioned you have the supply chain advantage. How does that work? I know you're right next to Singapore. You're right in the
Mm,
middle of the region. I mean, what
yeah.
is the supply chain advantage that Malaysia has?
Okay. So for example, if you look at automotive sector, when I say supply chain advantage, what I also mean is that a lot of the parts, a lot of the whole value chain of manufacturing of cars can be found in Malaysia. You actually don't have to
Oh,
go far. When it
uh-huh.
comes to logistical supply chain advantage, Malaysia has ports that are at par with Singapore, and yet we are just a fraction of the cost compared to Singapore. which is why a lot of, of products are choosing to come to Malaysia. DHL, for example, they're building a huge hub in Malaysia as the new transportational hub
Mhm.
for their products. I think they're investing about half a billion ringgit, which is about 150, 200 million US dollar, to build a smart logistics hub. I think we have the infrastructure. We have a we have very much of an advantage when it comes to cost, being cheaper than Singapore, yet more efficient in a way. And that's why we have a supply chain advantage. And not just that, we are connected with Thailand. Thailand can be connected with China directly. So when it comes to road logistics, on land logistics, we do have that connectivity, which is why we have always been a crucial part of the China One Belt One Road initiatives. So that's where Malaysia sits, and of course, I think infrastructure. We have a lot of warehouses. We have a lot of not just warehouses nowadays. We have smart warehouses as well. A lot of the
Mhm.
FMCG companies have built their own logistics chain network within Malaysia.
Okay.
So that helps
Okay.
to address some of the needs.
I'm also remembering Petronas, Malaysia's state-owned
Yeah,
multinational oil and gas corporation. So that's a
yeah,
huge
yeah,
advantage, right?
yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah.
the U.S. is going after oil.
Yeah, please,
Uh,
please tell your
so
president that we don't have oil.
you have it, right? You have it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. Officially, yes, we have it. Yes.
yeah. Um, so okay. So let's see. Now you're investing in about three to four tech startups a year, right?
Yeah.
And then how do you source these? Just tell us a little bit about how you go about uh,
Hmm.
deal making.
Yeah, sure. So at this point of time, because of the brand that we have built, obviously we do get inbound inquiries as well. Because if you look around, I mean, if any founders look around Malaysia or Southeast Asia, there are not that many VCs that would say it out loud that, oh, we are focusing on mobility, we're focusing on supply chain. So that helps. We're also getting a lot of deals from introduction to referrals from our portfolio companies. Because one of our part of our thesis is that we want to invest into companies or startups that are synergistic, meaning portfolio company A can work with portfolio company B, etc., etc. So
Mhm,
that element of synergy is something that we like, and
mhm.
hence it's always interesting when our portfolio companies introduce their partners, for example, partner companies. Or perhaps this could be another startup that we can invest into, and then we can roll them up to be a bigger play.
Oh, okay.
And we also get deals from our LPs as well. We have a bunch of very good LPs who are also actively helping us to source for deals. And also, and of course, we have a team over here in Malaysia that's actively going out there to hunt for deals. As VCs, you can't be sitting and not doing anything. So the team itself, we have to go out there to speak to people as much as possible. I mean, it's not very nice to say, but at this point of time, VC deal sourcing is still quite manual. Nothing has really changed compared to the last 5 6 years,
No.
despite having AI, etc. But of course, Gen AI, etc., has helped us to do better desktop search. But when it comes to connecting to the founders, connecting to the startups, a lot of these are still manual in the sense where you still need man hours, you still need to have spend time to go and talk to the company and to the startups. So yes, that's how we do it.
Well, it's a people business, so it makes sense that it wouldn't all just go to AI. It wouldn't just
Yeah,
go to the numbers. It would go to the people behind it. So
yeah.
let's learn a little bit more about you, Victor, your background. Where'd you grow up? Where did you go to
Mhm.
school? How did you get involved in venture capital? Tell us.
Okay. So I grew up in Malaysia, obviously. Somewhere it's a small town called Ipoh, which is 3 hours drive away, 2.5 hours drive away from KL, up north. But the place is full of good food. I mean, as usual, most Malaysians will tell you that we have good food in Malaysia or over Malaysia.
Yeah.
So yeah, so if you want to gain some weight, yeah, Malaysia is a place to be. So when I grew up, I mean, I've always been in Malaysia, but I did my undergrad in Australia, Macquarie. I actually did have a Bachelor of Commerce in Actuarial Studies. So I was supposed to join an insurance company to be an actuary, under and of course I was under government scholarship, so I had to come back to Malaysia after graduating from my university. However, given that at that point of time, this was 2010, actuarial science or actuarial studies wasn't that common because first of all, it's difficult. Second of all, there wasn't enough appreciation of the role of an actuary. That's why when I came back, I instead of joining an insurance company, I joined a consulting firm called Towers Watson. They used to be called Towers Perrin, and then they merged with Watson Wyatt to become
Hmm.
Towers Watson. Now they're called Willis Towers Watson. They've gone through a few mergers. What I used to do in my first job was um, to okay, a few things. One part of the job was more numerical, more number crunching, where I do asset liability matching. My clients were pension funds, sovereign funds, or corporate funds to help them match
Hmm.
their asset growth versus the liability needs. So that's one part. The other part was actually due diligence. So now I run due diligence on startups. Back then, I run due diligence on fund managers. So I would talk to Aberdeen, Nomura, Fidelity, etc. To do due diligence on them on behalf of our clients, which are the pension funds, etc. etc. Um, then after that, I stumbled upon MathCap, which is a VC arm, used to be the VC arm of the Malaysian government. MathCap doesn't exist anymore because they are now part of Khazanah or Pillar One Capital. So I was with MathCap for quite some time. As in MathCap, I used to do direct investments and then also fund investments. So when MathCap invested into Gobi, I jumped into Gobi as a representative of MathCap as well. So then the rest was history. After MathCap was Gobi, and then Gobi, now Vin Capital. That's that's my history.
I see. So, and it's interesting that we've had, I know Thomas Chow
Yes,
from
yes,
Gobi, and
great
he's
guy.
actually, I interviewed him for my new book as well,
Yeah,
to get his view from, because he was one of the first who moved from China to a different market, moved to KL, and that
yep,
was really unusual. And anyway, you joined Gobi around that time, right after he's kind of set it up, uh,
yep.
and now you're still working in the same office area as he is.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, Tom is a great guy. Man, I like him a lot.
Oh yeah.
He's one of the like you said, he's one of the first ones to have left, not left, but expanded beyond China and moved to Malaysia. In fact, I think he's probably the only China like only person with that profile in Malaysia. I don't see anyone else coming to Malaysia in such a with such conviction. Because he literally moved his whole family to Malaysia and look at Malaysia as the new home. Um, I'm
Yeah.
still working closely with him. In fact, we do look at some deals together with Gobi as well. So
Hmm.
between Vin and Gobi, we have a very good relationship. And obviously because I've known Tom for many years, and that's why it never felt it doesn't feel like I left Gobi because I still see him in office. um, it's good. It's good. It's good. I think what is important within the VC ecosystem is that you need to be able to work with other people as well. In our case,
Right.
between us and Gobi, we have a very friendly relationship.
Yeah.
Like I still have some of my ex-colleagues in Gobi as well. So that's good. And it helps a lot to have allies and friends.
Right. So we know Chibo Tang in
Yes, Kibo,
Hong
yes.
Kong.
Yep, yep,
Uh,
yep, yep.
yeah, and he's been on the show as well.
Yes.
Another person in the region that we have featured is the guy from Intudo Ventures. He's from Indonesia.
Patrick or Eddie?
Yeah, Eddie Chan.
Ah, okay, got it. Yes, yes, yes. I know Patrick better, but yes, they're a good firm. We do look at deals together as well.
Yeah, okay. Do you work with any Vietnamese firms?
Vietnamese, not so much in the recent months,
How
because
about
we
with
have not.
Singapore?
Singapore, yes. Like for example, we talked to Open Space quite a bit. Because now they also have an interest in Malaysia. So we do have conversation with Open Space because of that. Otherwise, the usuals, we work with Vertex as well. We work with SG Innovate. So there's a number of firms that we do work with, not just Singapore, Philippines. We work with Kaya Ventures, and a few other ones as well. So quite a number of VCs
I
around the
didn't catch the
region.
last name you said. What was that again?
Kaya Partners, Kaya Partners,
Kaya.
I mentioned. Yeah,
And
Kaya.
are they in Singapore?
No, actually, I think they're in the Philippines.
They're in the
But they do,
Philippines. Oh, uh-huh.
yes, yes. Even Philippines is coming up as well.
Philippines is coming up. I don't think we've had anyone from the Philippines yet. So I'll
I
have
can
to,
introduce next time.
yeah, you can introduce me to someone so we get them on
Yeah,
the show too.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of trending towards Southeast Asia right now from China.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and so yeah, that's one of the reasons had invited you to be on the show is because we want
Appreciate it.
to showcase that trend.
Yeah,
But Hong Kong is continuing very strong at the moment with a
definitely.
lot of IPOs and really setting the bar high, very high there.
Yeah.
Well, what else? Does anyone have any questions?
Yes.
Go ahead, Lawrence.
Yes, it is Lawrence. Hi. Yeah,
Hi.
very nice meeting you, Victor. I
Nice
heard
meeting you
that
too.
you've been in Gobi Partners, and
Yep,
actually, Gobi Partners, I don't know if you have helped Hong Kong because when Alibaba set up their entrepreneurship fund in Hong Kong,
yep,
Partner was the main driving force behind it.
yes,
Yep.
yes.
So this is not a question. My follow-up question is just trying to learn because in the semiconductor industry, Malaysia is quite strong,
Yep.
and the supply chain, global supply chain, has been impacted by the new actions around the
Yeah,
world, especially
yeah.
from the US. Can you update us on any major changes in the Malaysia semiconductor industry?
Sure, sure. I'll do what I can to answer that. Because I'm not an expert in semiconductor yet. From that perspective, I think there are still conversations around how we are managing that because obviously the US is not happy that we are selling chips to China. But so far, there's no new changes. However, we do expect some news to come up in the next couple of weeks, as there's a few semiconductor business that are uh, I think there's a few announcements coming out in the next few weeks. I can't share yet, but there's a few announcements that are coming out in Malaysia or from some semiconductor companies. So please stay tuned. I can't give you an answer yet because this is not I'm not in a position to share.
That's okay. That's okay. Looks like I've got your phone number. If I can I just send a text message to you just to
Yep, yep,
connect? And if
yep.
there
Please,
is
please,
any
please.
follow-up, then we can talk separately, LinkedIn connection, something like that.
Yeah,
Sounds good. Sounds good. Thanks, Lawrence.
Okay.
yeah, that's
I'm
good.
based
Yeah.
in San Francisco with Invest Hong Kong, and
Ah,
Rebecca, Silicon Dragon, had been our close partner for a long time.
oh, fantastic, fantastic. Rebecca is a fantastic person to work with for sure.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank
Thank
you, thank
you.
you.
Thank you, Lawrence. Hal, do you have a question?
No, been to 60 countries, but I've never been to Kuala Lumpur. Can't go everywhere.
Yeah.
Well, please do
It's
come one of the
famous for
days.
those dual towers, the dual towers
I
of
know what
Yeah.
it is. Yeah, I
Cronus.
know. I got close on a cruise, but didn't quite get there. Yeah.
Okay, so I went, I'll tell my story. I was in Singapore and I wanted to go to KL. I think I've been there twice. So I took the bus.
To a bus.
I
Wow.
took
Okay,
the
that's
bus.
that's very local of you.
I wanted to see the countryside. So I took
Right,
the
right, right.
bus, and it was called the Grassland Express.
Right, okay. And you still remember the name. Yeah.
Oh yeah, because I mean, it just the name was so notable. And then we went by all these Malaysian, these what the palm trees
Mm,
and the plantations and a lot of rural stuff before we got into KL. Took about 4 hours, from what I recall. But I
yep, yep,
actually I
yep.
would recommend that to anyone if you're in Singapore and you really want to see the countryside, you want to see what's going on. Why do you take a plane? A plane, you don't see anything.
Yeah, yeah, that's true, that's true.
Yeah,
Yeah, if
so
you have never come to Malaysia, that would be good.
I do adventure travel. Um, but anyhow, then anyhow, Grassland Express, highly recommended. Um, and was cheap also.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
yeah. Any other questions? Yeah, I mean, how is I guess the bus, I was on that bus, but how is the transportation in Malaysia, like in the city in KL? It was a long time ago that I went. I haven't been back in, over 10 years for sure. So
Right.
I know there's been a lot of development and I
Yeah.
really need to get back, but
Yeah.
anyhow, tell us about what's the transportation like? Is it,
Yeah. Yeah. I think now, obviously, compared to 10 years ago, now we have more highways. That's why President Trump was also impressed by our highways as well.
uh-huh.
We definitely have a lot more cars on the road. Public transport has improved because we have extended the coverage, the network. But and also because obviously with Grab here, so Grab has always been, I think, the last many years, where Grab is around, they have always been a good option for transportation. So we do have a lot of different sort of ways to travel around. I don't
Mhm.
think it's a problem anymore for transportation in Malaysia. Plus now we do not and there are more than just one ride-hailing startup. So we have Grab, we have I think Bolt in Malaysia as well. We have another
Okay.
one. What's the name?
Grab is
Drive
like the
InDrive.
Uber of the region, right?
Yes,
Grab.
yes, yes,
Mhm.
yes. Grab and Uber. I think they did a share swap many years ago. That's why
Yeah.
now there's only Grab in Southeast Asia and there's no Uber. We have the other one called InDrive. I think InDrive they're listed in the US, but originally I
Mhm.
think they're from Russia. So that we have even AirAsia, for example, one of our local airlines. AirAsia started their own ride-hailing business as well. So there's more than one option. That's why it's good for consumers because of all these options. Price tends to be a bit cheaper due to competition, and
Mhm.
so that yeah, there are options. Transportation in KL is easy. The only thing you got to worry about is the traffic jams. Just like any other countries in Southeast Asia during peak hours when it rains, etc. We still have the traffic jam. So that's the only part where I think we need to improve on.
Mhm. So are people using Chat GPT or what are they using? Manus AI or what kind of AI are people using in Malaysia?
The most common one is still ChatGPT actually.
Really?
Always
Okay.
yes,
I'm
it's still
surprised. Okay.
ChatGPT. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah. Somehow it's still ChatGPT. Some of the Chinese community would use what do you call it, the Chinese one, the DeepSeek. But
Uh-huh.
ChatGPT is still the most common one, at least based on what I see right now.
Do you ever get to Silicon Valley?
I haven't been back for many years. I will try to go back if it still makes sense. But but for the time being, I haven't really been traveling much to the US.
Yeah.
I still spend more time in Japan,
Oh,
partly because of the work that we're doing. We're talking to a number of Japanese partners as well, and Japan is coming back to Southeast Asia in a more aggressive way, especially Malaysia as well. For
okay.
example, we have been because of that particular interest from Japan. We have a partnership with Marubeni, one of the large trading firms from Japan. So we do see Japan as a very strategic market for us, especially in Southeast Asia. That's why I spend more time in Japan. Um, US, not so much yet. I suppose when we start to see an influx of founders coming from the US, then that makes sense for us. Or there's an influx of LPs coming from US, and it makes
Mhm.
sense for us to spend more time in the US. But most of the
Mhm.
time, a firm at our age, given that we're not a huge brand yet, we will spend more time in Asia, given the
Oh,
proximity
yeah.
and
And most of your portfolio companies, they're selling within the region. They're
yes,
not selling in the US. They're selling within the region. But,
yeah,
maybe all the Hong Kong startups I just interviewed, they all want to go global. They're very anxious to go global, but Malaysia's not quite ready for that yet. I don't, maybe it won't ever be. But it's very interesting to hear about your Japan partnership,
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
it's with a trading house.
Trading house, yes. We have a partnership with the trading house. So that we can explore collaboration between our portfolio companies and their business units. We do have companies that are not selling just in Southeast Asia anymore. Like for example, one of the robotics AGV AMR company that we invested from Malaysia. They actually have a business in India. In
Oh,
fact, their India business is growing much faster than the Malaysian business. But at the same time, they're also working on setting up their Texas exposure as well. So they have a partner that has brought them to the US, and they are now looking at setting up their manufacturing line in Texas. So that's also a way for us to look at globalization, global expansion. On the other hand,
You said somebody, I didn't quite get the name
yeah,
of the company
yeah.
that's looking to manufacture in Texas.
Yes. So we have a AGV company, autonomous guided vehicle company, that sells their robots to automakers, the robots to semicon companies, to manufacturers, to logistics firms. So they have clients or customers from more than 11 countries. And tech in the US, we are looking at setting up a manufacturing line somewhere in Texas, because that's where a lot of the automakers are. So that's their expansion to the US.
Okay. How do you spell the name of this company?
DF as in D for digital, F for forward, DF Auto, AUTO. That's a
Okay.
short name. Yeah.
DF
Auto.
Auto.
Type it here. Yeah.
Auto. Okay. All right. Thank you. Because it looks like I'm probably going to Austin, Texas, in not too long. Thank you. Yeah, DF Auto. Thank you for doing that.
No worries.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. So we covered a lot of ground here, and I think we're going to call it a night.
Yeah.
Call it a
Yeah.
morning, depending upon where you are. And if you're in Silicon Valley, I think some of you are, February, mark your calendar, February 26th, Palo Alto, for Gary Rochelle of Qingming. I called him, the one VC who didn't quit China, and he thrived. He's a master at pivoting. His firm, I don't know if you know Gary, but he's I've known him for years and covered him as a journalist, and his firm is one of the few that has been able to swing with all the various gyrations in the market. So I wanted to feature him. Jim McGregor here wrote the book 1 Billion Customers. It was the first big China book. And he also had run Dow Jones in China for many years. So he's a former journalist who was an author and now is a big time consultant at APCO Worldwide. Paul Triolo is the big tech expert. You can ask him anything about tech because he's got a really strong engineering semiconductor background. He's with Albright's firm in Washington, D.C. So I've got him speaking at 2 programs on January 29th in New York City. And so a lot coming up. This next week's a really big time for me. I've got 3 events in New York City on the same week. Then, as I mentioned, South by Southwest. So I'm glad to have your auto company that you're working with there. So okay, well, thank you everyone for listening, and we'll see you next time. And if anyone has any recommendations of other VCs we should feature, we need to do that.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Thank you, Rebecca.
Again.
Thank you, Victor.
All
Thank you,
right.
everyone.
Thank you,
Thank
Rebecca.
you.
Okay,
Take
thank
care.
you.
Sign off.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Rebecca.
Yep. Oh,
Thanks,
yeah.
Rebecca.
Yeah. Lawrence, I'll talk to you later.
No problem.
Okay.
Bye.